All right. Welcome to Practical Business Podcast. This is Erica Sacosio. I have two guests today with me. I'll let them introduce themselves. We'll start here.
I am Tara Mallison, Director of Partner Relations at Beacon Title and Escrow.
Jen Rocha. I work at Lizola Thompson Insurance, and I do commercial insurance.
Awesome. So thank you for coming in tonight. We really appreciate it. Tell me a little bit about how long you've been in the field and what drew you maybe to that industry.
I started in the industry, I've been doing it for 27 years. So I started in New York City. I started doing mortgages. I was a junior processor, which was also known as a gopher. So all I did was just make copies, all day long, 8 hours a day, make copies. After about 3 weeks, the president of the company had come and just started having a conversation with me. I didn't even know he was the president of the company. And I just started having a conversation with him. And the next day, the manager came up to me and they said, listen, Sal, who was the owner, said that you were too intelligent to be making copies. So we're going to move you up a little bit and you're going to become a senior mortgage processor. I was like, sounds good to me.
Yeah, Sal was a smart guy.
Yeah, he was a very smart guy. And once I started that, I just took off and went with it and never really looked back. But then 2 years ago, I made a decision that mortgage industry is very, very stressful. My first job, I worked in a mortgage industry, in a mortgage company, but it was inside of a real estate office. So I learned a lot about real estate at the same time. And now I said, I want to go to the other end of it. So I started doing title work. Okay. And learned that end of it, because the best way I could be successful is knowing all the aspects of it.
Yeah.
So now I do partner relations. I'm the director of partner relations, and I just get to make people happy and always say yes and solve problems, and it's the best thing I've ever done.
Fantastic.
Okay, and for myself, I came from a retail background, retail manager, and I decided my quality of life was too important, and I was presented an offer I couldn't refuse. The owner of my agency, he was like, come do insurance. And I physically was sick for weeks making this decision. It was very hard because where I worked, I had a very close relationship with all my associates. So, like, when I left, I handwrote letters. Like, I was crying, broken down. I was like, and I wasn't used to ever having that Monday through Friday schedule.
Yes.
So I came home the first 2 weeks. I was, like, ill from it. And that turned around real fast. I realized not working the nights, holidays, weekends, the whole grind of that anymore. It's like the hugest blessing. I'm so grateful for the opportunity. But being new into this profession is very stressful for me, and I need to start taking time back and reset myself and not carrying this weight and burden every day of trying to always learn and advance and try to be.
Yeah, it's important to have balance. Yeah, it's important to have balance.
It's a balance issue for me because I'm an overachiever.
Yes.
And it's very hard to take that back, but I have no regrets and I love it.
Yep.
Commercial insurance is different every single day. It's different businesses, different people. I love it. It's great.
Yeah, fantastic. Yeah. So our core values here at our business here is family, community, passion for teaching, and professionalism. And you ladies have started a new nonprofit organization.
Yes.
So I would love to hear a little bit more about that today. So if you could tell us maybe the name of the organization and a little bit about when it started and why you started it.
Sure. So we started Ladies L.E.A.D. I am the executive director of Ladies L.E.A.D. Jen here is our member ambassador.
Yep.
And we started it with 4 core principles. It was listen, educate, advise, develop, and that's what LEAD stood for. The biggest thing happened, the reason this happened, I had a dream, to be honest with you. I had a dream, and in the dream, this was all mapped out, as if somebody had come and implanted that into my mindset, and I dreamt about it. And the next morning I woke up and I immediately contacted a colleague that I have worked with and I respected, and I said, Alyssa, let's do this. You want to go on this, adventure with me? And she was like, I'm down. Let's do it. And so Alyssa Lopes was brought in as the co-director with me, and then we just built the team around that. We knew we wanted strong, independent, we wanted vocal, opinionated women. We wanted that. We wanted to bring those women in and say, come in and be that voice and, stand up for all these other women that are in this industry. And now what we want to do is say, how can we build? How can we grow? And how can we succeed? And how can we help every woman that is a part of, as a member of Ladies L.E.A.D, do those same things? So we work with women that are just starting out, they're in college, to women who are 25 years running their own business. And that's where our core value is educating and developing, advising, and listening to everybody. And, that comes back together to lead.
Yeah.
So that's the most important part, I believe, of Ladies L.E.A.D, is that we want to work with all women from all different industries, grow and succeed. I want to see everybody succeed. I'll be so happy.
Yeah. Agreed.
And two, it's giving back to the communities that all these small business, professionals are in. Like, we want to give back to, different organizations, all while like empowering and growing other women as well.
Exactly. I mean, our first event that we did, we worked with Dress for Success, because that's a part of it. A lot of these ladies were coming from bad places, and they were having to now go into the workforce with nothing but the clothes on their back. So Dress for Success works with them by giving them attire to wear on interviews, to wear to the first weeks of jobs while they're getting their feet on the ground, and and basically that's what we wanted to do. We want to, in essence, be a mentor towards these women and say, what, you don't have to be down there in the dumps. We're going to help you come back up, and we're going to do whatever is necessary to bring you up.
Yeah. So, one of the things that I think, giving back to your community, it also gives you an opportunity for networking opportunities with other, like you said, other women, and even if they're not women, but other folks who may be in the same industry as you, but also outside of the industries as well. And I do think that, not that this is the reason we do it, but I also believe that customers purchase from socially responsible companies. Like, that matters to consumers. I know it matters to my families for sure. So I think this is also another way to not only promote or support women within our communities, but also the communities themselves, and let people know that there are women who run businesses either at a senior level or have their own business, whether they've been around a long time or just starting out.
Right.
When you have new ladies coming to you who are just starting out, what do you feel like their biggest challenges, or the
I think the biggest challenge for women is being able to sell themselves, not their business, but themselves. I mean, you take somebody like Jen, for instance, she can talk to you about commercial insurance, but what is going to make a business owner trust her? And that's one of the biggest challenges that women specifically struggle with, is because they know how to help others, they know how to do for others, but they don't take care of themselves first. And that goes into that being able to sell themselves in their business, in their new careers. And we're teaching them that. And sometimes it could be a one-on-one with them. And sometimes it's coming to these events where they're meeting other women, and it gives them the confidence and the courage to go forward.
So what does a one-on-one look like if somebody comes out to you? What does a one-on-one look like? Like, how is it structured? What's the process?
It's telling about myself. Talking about myself. And when I talk about myself, it's, and we encourage this all the time, talk about the successes, talk about the struggles, and talk about the failures. Because the failures are what made us succeed. The struggles is what drove us to succeed. So we talk a lot about where we've come from. And letting people, women coming in say, it's okay. You're probably going to fall on your face. But it's okay. It's okay.
That's
Don't worry
correct.
about it.
That's
because
correct.
being a member of Ladies L.E.A.D, we're going to help pick you back up.
Right.
We're going to be there to help you throughout your journey, whatever it might be.
Yeah. So as a business coach, I find that, as I said when we were talking before the show, I find that folks just wait for it to be perfect before they get started. And it's not about that. It's about just getting started. Forget about perfection. You will be able to perfect your craft
Yes.
in your industry as you grow, as you continue to learn, as you continue to network. And like you said, that practice of talking about yourself, the more you do that, the more comfortable you become at doing that. Or the more comfortable you become talking about your product or your services.
Right.
If you really truly believe in those things, it becomes easier.
Yeah.
So I think that is a point of value.
Yeah. I think it's just a big confidence booster. Like, if you can have confidence to sell yourself in a room of people you don't know that are, your same peer group,
Yep.
a lot of times, I think that's really important too. Because, like I said, for myself, I'd never done any networking prior to, getting involved with, this group. Really, and it was intimidating to go in the room with all these women I didn't know and try to talk about myself and what I do, and it was just a great platform because everyone's building each other up, and it's there's no pressure. It's a setting to go and give back and just to go talk and meet and share
And
your
you guys met
experiences.
in a
B&I
group,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
So I don't belong to one of those groups, but it sounds like you guys found that was a value. That's how you found each other.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I started, I've known about B&I for 10 years, but in my previous profession, it wasn't necessary for me to do it.
Right.
Yep.
So I didn't do it. Then when I started, being the director of partner relations, that was my biggest struggle was speaking. I could talk to somebody, with a wine glass in my hand at a networking event, but to be able to talk about what I did, that was the hardest. It's probably 6 months that it took me to stop my heart from beating,
Yeah.
out of my chest,
Yeah.
And it's like they come to you and like, oh, your 10-minute presentations next week. And you're like, you have no
Unless
idea.
you're a
what-
public speaker, then
Unless
you're
you're
like,
a
I
public
can't
speaker,
wait.
right, exactly.
I would sweat and come around the room and I'd be like,
But you're not alone. There are a lot of people
Yes.
that are like that.
Yes.
So maybe that would be something if you know that you have to do, I'm going to say, your quote unquote elevator pitch many, many times, maybe taking some courses in public speaking or working with the business coach on doing that. Or like you said, going to an organization like yours or Center
Yep.
for Women in Enterprise and
Yes.
continually, the more you talk about it, the more comfortable you get, as you said, but, getting skills in that area, I think that is kind of one of the things we get very comfortable in the areas that we're comfortable in, and we'll continue to do that.
Right.
Getting outside of your comfort zone really is where the growth comes and really is where the success comes,
Yeah,
right? So
exactly.
you have to do that.
One of the principles of B&I is know, like, and trust. And you could have somebody sitting in front of you talking to you about, insurance, for
Yeah.
example, and they could be spouting out all these different things. But are you going to like them? Are you going to trust them?
No.
Yeah.
You could be like, okay, you kind of seem like you're a little bit greasy when you're talking to me. Like,
Right.
am I going to really believe that when I need you,
Right.
you're going to be there for
Yeah.
me?
Yeah.
And that's the core principle.
Yeah.
That is what
100%.
Yeah, it helps people.
I mean, my industry, there's no doubt about it that no one's
Yep.
leaving their child with me if they don't trust me.
Exactly.
Right? I am in the trust business. If there ever were a trust
Yep.
business,
Yep.
it's mine, right?
Absolutely.
A financial planner,
Yep.
person who takes care of your money and the people who take care of your children. Like, if
Absolutely.
there ever were a trust business. So that 100% resonates. Like, people have to
Yeah.
trust you,
Yes.
like you, know you 100%.
It is.
I believe in that.
We had, my biggest thing was I had gone to many different events, and there's always events. There's always networking events,
God. So many.
You have to limit yourself and say, I'm only going to do one per week. But I would go and I would hear people, like they would be the presenter. And you could look around the room and you're like, you lost everybody after 2 minutes.
That's right.
You may be still talking about your business.
Yeah.
But you lost them because
correct.
they're not feeling that connection
That's
with you.
correct.
So that's actually one of our, we're doing a class in July that we have a business coach coming in, and that's what she's gonna do is explain to people, like, you can present your business by knowing it, but you have to also present it in a way that's gonna connect with
Correct.
people.
And I'd love to get on your itinerary of folks who come to visit your
I would love to
your
have you.
ladies.
Absolutely.
So let's talk just for a minute about a business piece of this, right? So one of the things I think is important, other than the networking opportunities, is how you can really differentiate your brand or your business by working with your community. So if you think of, Subaru, right? Their commercials, or Tom's, right? Or, those different companies that make it a very strong part of their branding message that they are connected to their community.
Right.
So for people who are starting up, I think that's really important for them from a business standpoint to really find one that resonates with you. Some people will work with multiple charities because your organization, that's part of what you do.
Right.
But for me, we work with children. And then my family, particularly my mom, two really big causes that she was involved with was Toys for Tots.
Yeah.
So we've done that every year since we've opened.
Right.
Every year we collect toys for children who are in need. Everybody knows what Toys for Tots are. And then the other is the Impossible Dream, which is the playground in Warwick, right?
Yep.
So those are things that we make sure that every year we contribute multiple ways. Everybody who comes here, our customers know those are our, go-to. And it doesn't mean we don't help other charities, but those are definitely just bred as part of our business. It's
Right.
just entrenched in what we do. So I do think that when you're a business owner, I think it's important to find the things that really make a connection with you or your employees.
Right. So to that extent, being a nonprofit, we could have started our own charity, or we could have worked with other charities. And that's what we all have passions.
Yeah.
So working with Dress for Success was a very big.
Yeah, I can see how that would connect with your mission.
Yes.
And so that's my point is as we're, these folks who are starting businesses, I want them to understand the importance. It isn't just picking a charity that you think sounds good. It's either one that resonates with you and your passions,
Yes.
or you think if you really understand your target market, also resonates with their passion.
Correct.
Right?
And so for us, it's empowering women. And at the end of the day, though, we can be business owners, we can be saleswomen, of the year or whatever, but we're also moms.
Yep.
So it was empowering women and kids.
Yep.
Became the biggest focus for us.
I love it both.
So I do too. And so our second event, we said, okay, Sojourner House, because they work with helping women.
Yeah.
Our the August event is going to be Classroom Heroes, because who are the Classroom Heroes? The teachers going into the classroom every single day, and more than ever, what we have been seeing in the news, what we just know, unfortunately, as second nature in our culture today, is the teachers are the real heroes every single day.
Agreed.
And that's why we said, okay, that's going to be our focus as well. So we want to be able to hit both places.
Yeah. So the other thing I think is an interesting point too is when a company has a good mission and a good connection with their community. Also, when you're hiring, and I know some people might not think about this, when you're hiring your staff, when you're hiring employees to work at your company, it's really important to also have people who are like-minded in that area. And it does help you attract responsible people, that have that passion for their community as well. And you can get some really top talent who, like you said, who aren't quiet, who are opinionated, who do have a reason for being here. Nobody's looking for a clock in, clock out person.
No.
Right? We're looking for people who make impact in our businesses, no matter what your business is, right? I think that's a good model for anybody who has a business to find, talent that is connected to what you're trying to do in your business.
It absolutely is. You're 1,000,000% right on that. You need to have several different types of personalities in a business, especially if you're going to be in a sales business. Because, and I say this all the time, I talk to my realtors who are my partners, and they'll say to me, oh, well, I'm not sure about this. I don't know how much they're, invested in buying a house, or, I don't know if I want to work with that lender. And everybody has different qualities that mesh with other people with similar qualities. And it's, if we were all Stepford people, we would all be walking around, perfectly blonde hair, perfect figures, and, pearls and all that goes into it. But we're not. We're all made up differently.
Yeah.
And that's important in business. You have to look outside the box, and you have to think of your clientele and who's going to attract which type of clientele.
Yeah. So tell me, what are your short-term goals for your organization?
Our short-term goals is to build up our membership, to build them to a point where they trust us and they know that we have their best interest in heart, that we want to help them grow. We want to bring in new members that are going to grow as well with us. That's our short-term goal.
Okay. And your long-term goal is?
I want to have multiple chapters in several different states. I want to kind of conquer the East Coast, you know, and have, Ladies L.E.A.D Florida, Ladies L.E.A.D New Jersey,
It's pretty funny. We all start with Florida. I love Florida too. I just came back from Florida. I literally, me and my sister, we put the coaching business together. We said East Coast Consultants. We literally are on the same page. You guys started in April.
Yep.
We started in April. There was something in the water in April that
Must
just
be.
said it was time to like rip the cord and just do it, right?
Exactly.
Yeah.
It wasn't, I could not hold it back anymore. The fear, I had to let it go. And then with each person that we brought in, I was jumping up and down. I was so excited. Like, yes, I wanted this person. And they said yes, you know.
I hear you.
And
I can't even sleep at night anymore. I told him when he came in, I was like, my head's going to explode. Like, I have so many ideas and so many things I am ready to do.
Absolutely.
So talk to me a little bit about, have you guys connected with CWE at all, Center for Women in Enterprise?
We have not connected with other women's groups yet.
Okay.
It is a goal that we will work all together because I don't look at anybody as a competitor.
Sure.
We are all in this together, whether there be a networking group or it being a coaching group or, another group that's doing like-minded what we're doing.
Yeah.
It's power in numbers,
Of course,
there's strength in
absolutely.
numbers. And
that's why I brought it up.
yeah, absolutely. There would be, I say that all the time. I want to work with as many people and many as organizations as possible because we can only get better together.
Yeah. So, what's interesting and cool? You said you love, women and children. So our next podcast that we have a little later tonight is actually with Little Maeve's Lemonade, which was a lemonade that the concept was a little girl who was like 8 years old.
Right.
And her mother. And now you can buy the lemonade at Dave's Marketplace and a few
that's
other
awesome.
local places.
Yeah.
I think they also moved here from out of state and they're just Rhode Island natives. But so I'm really excited to talk to a 8-year-old entrepreneur tonight.
Absolutely.
So
Good
yeah,
for
so
her.
like
You
I want her as a member.
How cool is that, right?
Yeah.
So
She's already leading and she's 8.
You got it. So how do you measure success? I'm gonna let you talk a little bit.
Yeah, Jen.
How do you measure success, Jen?
Oh, God. Put me on the spot, huh? I feel like success, to me, it's knowing at the end of the day, I can lay my head down at night knowing I've done good for myself and other people, like having other people's best interests at heart, that I'm genuine, I'm honest, I like to give back, and to me, makes me successful. Like, I'm huge in giving back.
That sounds wonderful to me, yeah.
I strive to do right by people, whether it's, jumping on board with Ladies L.E.A.D and trying to do my best to, get donations, collect supplies.
And she was
donate
running all
my
over the state of
time,
Rhode Island collecting donations too, everywhere.
And even in my job, I might not always be able to help somebody in there with insurance, but I'm going to be honest with them and tell them, the black and white of it all. And I think, to me, if I can stay doing that, that makes me a successful person.
That sounds good. Same question.
I actually can answer this in a very specific way. My daughter is 16. She worked the door at our first event, and we were driving home an hour from Providence, to Connecticut.
I'm gonna get it.
And she said to me, we were just kind of driving around and not really talking and tired, and she said, Mom, I am so proud of you for what you did tonight. Like, that's awesome. Like, my mom just started a charity. Like, that's awesome. And I was like, I'm wiping away the tears, and that, I know where I've come from as a person, as a mom, as a role model, and to be able to have my 16-year-old who, nobody can roll their eyes better than a 16-year-old girl. The whites of the eyes are just constant.
I got a 23-year-old.
Yes.
I know. I get it.
I still get it.
They still be rolling their eyes.
Yes. I realize I roll my eyes at my mother too. Yeah. But it's, but for them to have that moment where they realize it, they get it, and that was the proudest moment of my entire existence. People say, oh, the best moment was my children being born. No, that was painful. I hated that moment. There was nothing good about that. But that moment, my 16-year-old daughter saying something nice about me was a highlight, And the same thing really what Jen was saying as well. Like, as long as I do my day-to-day with integrity and grace and
Yeah.
class,
Yeah.
that's a successful day. That's a successful day.
Yeah, I agree. So before we wrap it up, how can this is your 5 minutes of how can other people get connected with you?
Yeah.
Give your
So
give
the
your
best
5
way
minutes.
right now, we are in the process. Again, we are starting up. So our website is being designed. We're hoping to have
Yes,
it.
I looked.
I know.
I was hoping to get a little bit
Yes.
more info before we met, but that's okay.
Yeah, it's being worked on. We're just ironing out the last details. So we're hoping that for the event next week, it'll be ready to go. How people can get involved is going on our Facebook, our Instagram pages.
Yeah.
We're very socially active.
Tell them what it is.
It is Ladies Ladies L.E.A.D RI on Facebook or at Ladies L.E.A.D RI on Instagram.
Okay, so not the org, because another one comes up if you Google that.
Yeah.
So if you do, for our website, it will be ladieslead.org. There will be ladieslead.org. We did buy the domain, so they may be working on it. I don't think they released it yet.
Okay.
But not as far as Facebook and Instagram are
Okay.
concerned. We are Ladies L.E.A.D RI
Okay.
on both of those sites. Like I said, we're very socially active, so there's always information. I would say come to the event next Thursday.
Tell us about the event.
June 16th, next Thursday. It starts at 5. And it is at Finn's Harborside in East Greenwich. I was going to say
Yeah.
East Providence. East Greenwich.
Okay.
And all you need to do is bring one of the items that's listed on our social media pages. They're mostly just household items. They will go into a basket as a housewarming gift for women and children, or they work with men as well because men need it as well. But families moving into a new home, and they give them a housewarming gift, and a lot of times they're linens and towels
towels.
and diapers and the things that they're going to need when they go into home. A lot of times they with Sojourner House, they work with victims of domestic violence. And they walked out of their house with nothing but the clothes on their back.
Right.
So they work with them and getting them into a new home in a safe environment. But I would say come to the event, go on to our social media pages, follow us
Okay.
so that you can know about everything that we have coming up. Like I said, July, we try to do on the odd numbered months, we try to do more of education. And on the even months, we do event,
Okay.
And
And do you guys have a podcast too?
we do not have a podcast.
Okay.
No.
You have a video? I saw something.
We
It
have-
looked like maybe you guys video in a conversation?
We had a video, so each one of us recorded of why we lead. What was the reason behind each one of us saying?
that's what I saw.
Yeah, why I lead, and fun music that goes along with it. I chose a song from Sex and the City soundtrack because Carrie Bradshaw is my spirit animal. We all chose different songs. I mean, like somebody chose a song from Neo, somebody chose Beyonce. Just tells about their personalities
yeah,
too.
okay.
And I think that helps resonate with other people as well.
Sure.
Young people, they're like, oh, this chick is playing Beyonce. I like that. But it's a fun environment. We're not structured in a sense that's making it confined.
Yeah, and it's going to be comfortable,
Yeah, and I'd say as far as the event, it's not a networking event. It's
No.
a social event to come
Yeah.
support a good cause and support other people
Yeah.
in
There's no pressure to it. And I think networking events, a lot of
Yeah.
people kind of shy away from because
Sure.
they don't want to do the networking or they feel, oh, it's going to be the same people every time. I love our events because I see new people every
social.
single time.
Wow.
It's fun.
It is a
Yeah.
lot of fun.
Perfect.
We have music and we had a photo booth the photo booth was the star of the show at our first event. Everybody was having a great time with it. So, having a DJ and having a photo booth and
Sure.
it feels like you're going to a party. And that's
Yeah.
what we're really trying to do. It's like, it's no pressure, no stress, go and have some fun, bring some items that we can donate. And, if you don't want to bring an item, money is good, cash is green.
Okay.
So, it could be done that way. And, just keep following us. We are going to start an actual membership program so that everybody could become more of a part of it where we can help develop them
Yep.
and we can help promote their businesses.
Okay,
So,
sounds good.
Yeah.
So I would love to have you guys on, after maybe a year. See
Yeah.
how far you guys have grown. I'm sure I will see you at a few of your events.
Yes,
I
absolutely.
definitely have liked all of your pages and your
Yes.
social media.
Thank you so
I will, of course, absolutely. And the same we're gonna put out your podcast. Usually goes out on Mondays.
Okay.
So I'll let you know the date that we release it.
Okay.
It's on Spotify.
Yep.
Apple Tunes, and Buzzsprouts. I think. He's laughing at me in the corner. He's like, all right.
covered up. He's
Is that
covered
all
up.
right? He's gonna edit that right out.
I'm going to take an opportunity. Don't edit this part out, but I'm going to take this opportunity actually to say thank you from working moms who need a place to bring their children that they can trust, that they can respect.
You're welcome.
and that's a huge benefit. And I got to be honest with you, there are a lot of places that aren't so reputable, but hey, they're cheap. So, you know, you don't think about it in that sense. So having integrity is extremely important. And then, of course, thank you for having us on.
Thank you for having us.
And hopefully you guys will continue to grow.
Yeah,
Oh, yeah.
This is all new and it's exciting, and there's a lot to it. But
there is a lot to it, and there'll be
hopefully
days
a lot of growth.
There'll be days we'll be venting to each other,
Yeah.
but at the end of the day, right? It's that struggle that you grow, right?
That's right.
Get outside of your comfort zone.
Yeah.
Yep.
I beg you to do 20 more podcasts by the end of the year. Just get out there and do it. But get out there and do it,
We
right?
may actually
You
have to
gotta
have her
walk
do the
walk.
podcast now.
You got to walk the walk, right?
Yeah.
If you're telling other people, you know, get up, talk in front of other people, you got to do it too. So you got
but
this.
that goes to confidence.
You got
But
this.
Good luck to you with all you.
Thank you.
Are you a business owner? Are ready to get your startup? Well, start it. Have a burning question you would like us to answer? Want to know more about the services we offer? Or register for upcoming workshops and events? Looking to book a guest speaker? Or like to be a guest on the Practical Biz podcast? Visit our website at stellabusinessconcepts.com.